But then we know that an impeachment trial is a political exercise as well. And the truth of the matter is, number one, it is campaign season, and 12 of the senators that are campaigning would want the Visayas Mindanao votes, perceived to be the baluartes of the Dutertes. Isn't this the real reason why the senators themselves do not want to start the impeachment trial now?
Kung nagpatawag ang Senate President ng All Senators Caucus and yet there is no quorum even in that caucus, that is already a reflection that, more than one half, yun yung importante. So, kung ma-convince ko sila, then therefore, there's no possibility that we can convene the Senate as an impeachment court earlier than June 2. But if they remain unconvinced or they're not interested in the subject matter, then it is a political issue. But
Enzo Recto, kalaban ang katiwalian at kasinungalingan, kakampi sa katotohanan at kabutihan.
Okay, Senator, pag-usapan natin ulit, ano ang rekomendasyon ninyo sa Senate President?
well, una sa lahat, yung interpretation ko, sabi ko, ang meaning ng forthwith. Kasi ang sinabi sa Constitution, pag sinubmit na ng more than one-third, or at least one-third of the House members ang articles of impeachment, yun na yung magsisilbing information or articles of impeachment, and trial in the Senate shall forthwith proceed. So, binigay ko sa kanya in letter form kay Senate President what forthwith should mean, or how it should be interpreted. So it's not a technical term. It's not a legal technical term or any kind of technical term, and it is found in the Constitution. Therefore, we have to give it its ordinary, everyday meaning. Ganun yun eh. That's the principle in constitutional construction. So, bukas tayo ng dictionary o thesaurus, tignan natin anong ibig sabihin ng forthwith. Ang sabi doon, immediately, right away, without any delay. O pag sinabi na sa yung without any delay, do not think of an excuse not to do it, di ba? So that's what I told him. So and then of course, but I know the reality is the senators have their own schedules right now. So ang aking suggestion kay Senate President is to call for an all senators caucus so that we can now bring back our attention to this particular subject matter. So
Okay.
it's a one item agenda in the all senators caucus.
Okay, so malinaw ang sabi nyo, forthwith.
Yes.
Literally means right away.
Right away.
Immediately. So for you, if the trial is held after the President's SONA, that is 5 months from now,
Yeah.
not right away?
Oh, that's I think even closer to 6 months na ata yan. Sige, let's put it at 5 months. Hindi na po right away yan, hindi na po immediately yan. Especially tapos may June 2 pa nga. There's even an earlier date which is June 2. My point is we should not be bound by the so-called legislative session calendar, because the Senate is still existing as a Senate, and we can declare that we are now convening as an impeachment court. So that the trial calendar or the court calendar is different from the legislative calendar. So my point is, we should not even be bound by June 2. We can act earlier than June 2. It's as simple as that, Karen. And when we act earlier than June 2, we are not violating the Constitution. In fact, we are following the Constitution, because ang sabi sa Constitution, may Tagalog version, may Filipino version ang sabi doon, isunod agad ang paglilitis sa Senado. O ano naman ang meaning ng agad? Ordinary meaning din yan. Mabilis, dagli-dagli. Mayroon pang malalim na Tagalog, karakaraka. O. Di ba pag marinig mo yun, Karen, mapapalundag ka eh.
Oo, oo. Takbo ka.
Ulundag
Mabilis.
ka.
Oo, oo. But then we know that an impeachment trial is a political exercise as well. And the truth of the matter is, number one, it is campaign season, and 12 of the senators that are campaigning would want the Visayas Mindanao votes, perceived to be the baluartes of the Dutertes. Isn't this the real reason why the senators themselves do not want to start the impeachment trial now?
Well, you better ask them no individually. Pero sa akin, that should not be the primary consideration. Our primary consideration as sitting incumbent senator should be to comply with the Constitution. Di ba nag-oath kami, bago kami naging senador, nag-oath kami that we will faithfully execute the Constitution, what is there in the Constitution. So, yun. So, I'm just appealing to our oath of office.
Oo. So, technically, pwede ng Senator, let's talk about the process. Technically, the Senate President can already can already convene the impeachment court, the Senate as an impeachment court. The Senate President can take his oath. So formally, you take jurisdiction of the complaint. The Senate as an impeachment court can already handle preliminary matters,
Right.
but the trial can technically start after Election Day. Kung ayaw ng tao ng politika, kung takot ang senador sa politika, after Election Day or 2 days after.
Well, if that should be now the result of the majority decision and then we come up with the trial calendar,
Oo.
wala tayong magawa dun eh. If that's the majority's position, now okay, we can start, and then let's now start the process. Let's ask the impeached official to answer, the prosecutors to reply. But
Ganun muna.
we will set trial on May 20. Ano na, kunyari.
Yeah.
So, ano na po yun? I mean, I can object, we can object, call for an earlier date. But of course, I have to now concede that the Senate is not me. The Senate is composed of right now 23 senators. So, yung may numbers, ano yan, majority rule yan. Yung nakakarami ang magsasabi ko anong direksyon. Re-respeto rin natin yon. But then, but it will be an open process, then the people will know sino yung umiwas, sino yung willing harapin ang mahirap na desisyon.
Ba, ang interesting kasi, if it's after, ang election is May 10 ba? May 14?
May 12.
O May 12. So, ang election is May 12. If hypothetically, the impeachment court starts hearing it on May 14, let's say, nanalo ka ng congressman noon, yung ibang senador nanalo ulit, pero yung iba natalo na. The point is, it's still the 19th Congress.
Yes.
Lahat kayo, senador pa rin.
Correct.
Until June 30.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So, pero ang point ko is, kung pwede bang ma-defer, kunyari, even if they say they accommodate my request for an earlier action on the impeachment, then we hold now, we convene as a court, not waiting for June 2. Pero actually, theoretically possible that the actual trial, the presentation of witnesses can be deferred after the elections. So, pero ayoko rin yun, kasi sabi nga ng Constitution, forthwith eh. Forthwith, sabi ng rules namin, we proceed day to day. Oh, so we do not as much as possible, we do not delay things. Nasa rules naman namin yun.
But it really seems that politics, the campaign, is really the issue. Because with Erap Estrada, you remember, Senator Koko Pimentel, Erap Estrada, a month after, I believe the impeachment trial started. Renato Corona, because it is within the same Congress. Bagamat nag-recess, pero a month and a half or so, kaagad that start ang trial.
Yung mga 1 month delay, sa akin reasonable yung kasi pag-aaral din naman dapat ang senator judges aralin din yung mga articles of impeachment. And then syempre, there are some other preliminary matters. But pagka June 2 pa kasi, February 5 kasi na-file yun eh. At saka June 2 yun, so March, April, May, June. I-assume na lang natin na, so 4 months. I don't think that is already even attempting to comply with the spirit of the order of the Constitution to or trial to forthwith proceed. 4 months eh. So ngayon, so February 5, so ano na ngayon, late February na. Kung mag-action man kami, early March na yan. So 1 month delay na. So I think that's a reasonable period of, ilagay ko na lang sa quotation marks, delay, because the past impeachment trials or cases also incurred or suffered the same period of time from filing to actual trial as some kind of a delay.
Okay, and what can happen in 5 months? Because some political pundits have said technically this also gives the Vice President time to consolidate her power. And we already know she filed a petition before the Supreme Court asking that the Senate not take up the petition, right?
Yung sa filing of cases kasi, Karen, this is a free country talagang. Even if we acted earlier, the impeached official or some of her supporters are still free to also question the early action. Ngayon naman na may 4-month delay, so some people can also question why is there a 4-month delay. Pagdating naman sa political activities of the impeached official, well, that is her right, that is her prerogative. So, and then ang senators din naman, being also political creatures or political beings, pwede rin kami magpaliwanag sa taong bayan sa mga posisyon din namin. So this is part of the process then, Karen.
But what can the Senate President do now? After you've recommended he call an all senators caucus, right? What's a first step that could be deemed as soft but already gaining jurisdiction? Sabi kasi ni Justice Ascuna, kahit lang mag-oath na si Senate President, okay na daw yun.
Mag-oath siya at mag-oath din kami. Lahat na kami. So dapat ito, Karen, ganito. Why only an all senators caucus? Kasi number one, gusto namin makita o dapat namin makita what is now the level of interest among senators over this case. Kung nagpatawag ang Senate President ng all senators caucus and yet there is no quorum even in that caucus, that is already a reflection that, you know, more than one half do not have this in their radar. Do not consider
but then clearly they won't. But Senator, they probably won't have it in their radar.
Let's wait for it.
Because they're campaigning. Right?
Hintayin natin, Karen, because tignan muna natin kung magpatawag ang Senate President ng All Senators Caucus. Tignan muna natin yun. Of course, then we will set the date na dapat, well, may possibility na libre lahat na dito sa Metro Manila maka-attend. And then, on the date and time and place for the All Senators Caucus, tignan natin who will appear. Sana may quorum. Pag walang quorum, moot na, everything is moot. An academic, ibig sabihin nun, the decision of the Senate President stands, June 2 na.
But then that's the thing. I mean, it still violates the Constitution, the spirit of the Constitution. Right?
Right. That's why the purpose of the All Senators Caucus, I will ask the Senate President to give me time to present to my fellow, to our colleagues, my position, my analysis. Ito po yung meaning ng forthwith. These are the other provisions I saw in the Constitution and in our rules, which can justify the separation of the legislative calendar from the trial or the court calendar. Yun yung importante. So, kung ma-convince ko sila, then therefore, there's no possibility that we can convene the Senate as an impeachment court earlier than June 2. But if they remain unconvinced or they're not interested in the subject matter, then it is a political issue. But we cannot force it. We cannot force it. Hindi pwedeng mag-rogue session kami doon na wala kaming quorum. Let us say...
How many do you need for a quorum?
13.
13.
Yeah, 13.
And do you think you'll be able to produce 13?
13, but of course, since this is... hindi, wala akong... I do not know. That's why I need that all senators caucus. But if, let us say, 13 will actively participate, you need 16 to convict. So, pwede mo sabihin, what's the point? Diba? What's the point? If only 13 will also vote, what is the point? So we really need this all senators caucus so that all senators can focus on this one particular issue and then ilabas yung kanilang personal stand.
Okay, so it seems to me like a senator's caucus is more voluntary in nature.
Yes.
But what about the special session? Doesn't the Constitution provide that either the President can call it or the Senate President can call it? Because ang nangyari is, the President said it doesn't seem that the senators are asking for it. The Senate President said it doesn't seem that the President wants it.
Ako kasi I do not want that special session sentence or provision in the Constitution is found in Article 6, and it is the last sentence of Section 15 ata of Article 6, which talks about the session of the Congress having legislative power. So it's about our legislative calendar, legislative sessions. Ang aking point is Article 11, accountability of public officials ang impeachment hindi siya Article 6 of the Constitution, Article 11. It was intentionally separated.
Yeah.
And then the framers just sabi nila, okay, so accountability. Okay, let's have impeachment. Okay, where will you assign impeachment? House, you initiate. You have the sole prerogative to initiate impeachment. House of Representatives. Senate, you be the court. You try and judge. So it's in Article 11. So separate talaga. So it's the Senate as an impeachment court should be able to convene as an impeachment court independent of its legislative calendar. That is my thesis, my statement. That is my point, Karen. Kaya makita mo pa rin how it was divided, how it was structured in the Constitution. Makikita mo ginamit lang, naghanap yung framers ng Constitution, mag-invento tayo ng process of impeachment. Okay, saan natin ilagay ang power? Sige, sa Article 6 there is a Congress, and then there is a House, and there is a Senate, and they treated the two chambers independently and separately from each other. So we're not talking about legislative sessions here.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the call for a special session is technically only for legislative matters.
Yes, but definitely I have no issue if during a legislative session, whether regular resumption of the regular or a special session called by the President, you can tackle in the reference of business the filing of the impeachment complaint. Wala akong issue dyan. Okay? So, yun. So, that's June 2. That's the earliest that we can do it if we are to subscribe to the theory or the belief that that's the only way you can call the Senate, convene the Senate as an impeachment court. Ako nga, I want to be released from that difficulty, because that is the legislative session. And then sinabi ng Article 11, Senate, proceed with the trial forthwith. So therefore, Yes, so Senate, sabi niya Senate.
Yeah.
Senate kayo. So, okay, we are still existing as a Senate. So, we can make a decision to convene as an impeachment court.
Yeah.
And come up with our own trial or court calendar, separate from our legislative calendar.
Good
So,
point.
lang yun, I think the Senate President disagrees with this second way of doing things.
Oo. But then it's clear. It doesn't even say that you have to be in session or adjourned or recessed. Walang ganon. It just says proceed forthwith.
Yes, walang ganon. And then even our rules, as the Senate impeachment rules, sinabi doon that when the Senate as an impeachment court adjourns, it does not mean that the Senate as a legislature adjourns. Separate talaga. So the other way around din. When the Senate as a legislative chamber adjourns, let's assume na may trial, may ongoing trial na, it doesn't mean that the Senate as an impeachment court also adjourns, because these are really separate systems, separate ideas, because even sa structure ng Constitution, iba. The Senate is part of Congress having legislative power that is found in Article 6. But the Senate being used as the impeachment court for accountability of public officials is found in Article 11 of the Constitution. So, I mean, that is and then meron pa yung forthwith. So, in my opinion, I believe I am presenting solid arguments. So I just need this all senators caucus, and then for the SP to the Senate President to allow me to present my analysis, and then Senate President to present his analysis. But I will surrender to the position of the majority, because that is how the Senate works. It's a collegial body. Ganun po.
But okay, now Senator, can the Supreme Court actually set the precedent when it comes to this? Can they already make the clarification? Or you believe the Supreme Court will not have jurisdiction over the Senate's decision regarding the impeachment timetable?
Okay, cases have been filed, I think, and both, there more than 2 cases have been filed, and then both sides, I think, are being presented. Diba? There's a mandamus case that they want an earlier trial, so I think baka may analysis din sila na parang sa akin. Merong isa namang case seeking to annul the articles of impeachment, so siguro ayaw nila yung they want a shortcut dismissal from the Supreme Court. So I do not want to preempt the Supreme Court's action as well as decision on these matters. I shall also eagerly await it, because I'm a lawyer, so I'm excited to see how the Supreme Court will resolve these issues. Pero there's no guarantee, of course, the Senate, kasi all of these provisions na binabanggit natin, yung mga trial in the Senate shall forthwith proceed, these are addressed to the Senate. Addressed to the Senate. So the Senate should not should not pass the ball to the Supreme Court na interpret this for us.
Oo.
Kami kausap ng Constitution, we should have our own interpretation of the communication or the mandate from the Constitution to us.
Bunyog, halikan na kasama ka. Bunyog, kapag buklod ay may pag-asa. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, isa ang pananaw. Sa bagong Pilipinas ang bunyog isisigaw. Bunyog,